Have you ever stopped to think that humanity's first messages were left deep within caves, through paintings that still connect us to our ancestors? Cave paintings are more than just images, they are humanity's first cry, our attempt to communicate the invisible and connect with the spiritual world. The art we see on cave walls is a testament to how our ancestors try to understand and interact with the universe around them. But what do these images really mean? What can we learn from them about our own history and spirituality? If you're curious to unravel the secrets these marks left behind, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. With each video, we explore a new mystery from the past, revealing fascinating stories that transcend time. Don't miss this journey. Click the subscribe button and start unraveling the mystery of cave paintings with us. Cave art marks a pivotal moment in human evolution, where expression began to transcend words and physical form. Our Paleolithic ancestors, upon discovering the power of images, began a practice that would become one of the first visual languages in history. Caves, with their dark walls and mysterious shadows, were the perfect stage for this search for expression, where each brushstroke of pigment not only represented life, but also an attempt to connect the visible and the invisible. Like a silent ritual, each cave painting was an open door to the spiritual world, a reflection of the lived experiences and beliefs that shaped their lives. These early human expressions were not just a representation of reality, but a means of communication and identity affirmation. By painting figures of animals, such as bison or mammoths, early humans were, in effect, creating a visual memory of their relationship with the world around them. It wasn't just about capturing the animal's appearance, but about imprinting on the stones the life force and energy they represented. It was as if, in drawing these beings, Paleolithic humans were trying to capture something beyond their physical form, a piece of the animal's souls, and perhaps a piece of the human soul itself. Through these representations, it was possible to glimpse a form of primitive magic, a connection with the supernatural. For these ancient people, cave art was far from being merely an aesthetic activity. It was a sacred ritual, an attempt to influence the natural and spiritual elements that governed their lives. Painting on cave walls was an act of profound significance, possibly related to shamanism, an attempt to communicate with the spirits of nature, to seek protection, or even to ensure good hunting. These images, then, become witnesses not only to an era, but to a spiritual and existential journey of humanity. Caves were not just shelters, but sacred spaces where Paleolithic humans connected with something greater than themselves. For them, cave walls were like portals to the afterlife, places where they could communicate with spirits, the dead, and the forces of nature. Cave paintings were much more than a visual representation of the surrounding fauna. They were an attempt to tune with the invisible energies that govern the world. These symbols, often abstract or symbolic, carry within them the power to summon or appease spirits, a direct reflection of the spiritual understanding of the time. In many ancient cultures, art was believed to have the power to shape reality. Thus, cave paintings may have been a type of prayer or incantation, a ritual designed to ensure hunting success or protection from natural hazards. Some scholars suggest that depictions of animals, for example, were not simply a reminder of everyday life, but a way to ensure victory over them during hunts. It was as if Paleolithic humans believed that by painting an animal on a wall, they could take possession of its life force, establishing a spiritual connection with that being and ensuring abundance and protection. Shamanism, a practice deeply linked to spirituality in ancient societies, likely played a key role in this context. Cave paintings depicting men, animals, and mystical symbols can be seen as an attempt to invoke spiritual forces to guide or protect hunters and their tribes. Caves became temples, where the act of painting was not only an artistic expression, but also a way to ritualize life. This demonstrates how art was not merely aesthetic, but a tool for connecting directly with the divine, with the invisible world that permeated the daily lives of those early humans. Cave art goes beyond simple aesthetic expression. It is, in fact, an attempt to establish communication with the supernatural and the invisible forces of the world. For Paleolithic humans, cave paintings were not just static images, but a form of visual language that transcended time. Each stroke of color on the stones held a profound meaning, representing more than what was visible. It was a wordless language that spoke directly to the soul, capable of invoking the spiritual, the magical, and the mystical. Ritual, then, manifests itself not only in the creation of the paintings, but in the act of painting itself. which would be part of a broader process of consecration and connection with the natural elements. In the context of early cultures, cave art also had a ritualistic function. It was an attempt to influence fate, to control the unpredictable. By painting animals or human figures, prehistoric artists were, in a sense, creating a connection with these beings. Each animal depicted was more than a visual representation. It carried within itself a symbolic power, an energy that it was believed could be manipulated to ensure the survival of the group. For example, painting a bison on the cave walls could be a way to ensure the animal's presence during the hunt, or even to ensure that the bison's spirit was on the hunter's side, granting them success. Shamanism is undoubtedly key to understanding this relationship between art and ritual. In ancient cultures, shamans were intermediaries between the human and spiritual worlds. Caves, with their walls adorned with images and symbols, were likely sites of rites of passage, healing, and protection. Art, then, was not just a form of representation, but a spiritual practice that connected the group with the invisible. It was a means of invoking forces for the well-being of the community, a way to ensure that the spirits of nature and animals continued to bless the tribe with abundance and protection. The animals painted in caves were not simple representations of what humans saw in their daily lives. They carried a much deeper meaning, representing life forces and powerful energies that early humans believed they could control or summon. Through these animals, such as bison, mammoths, and horses, cavemen expressed their symbiotic relationship with nature. Each brushstroke on the walls was, in fact, an attempt to capture the essence of the animal, to imprison its life force and bring it into the human world. Therefore, these paintings were not just memento, but a means of spiritually interacting with animals, of transforming these creatures into allies. Ultimately, the animals depicted in cave paintings were seen as more than physical beings. They were carriers of energy, capable of influencing life and death. It was believed that by drawing an animal on the cave walls, humans could invoke its strength or ensure a successful hunt. The bison, for example, was not just a source of food, but an embodiment of strength, vitality, and perseverance. The act of painting the bison not only reflected admiration for this animal, but also a way to connect with on a deeper level, an attempt to become one with the energy it represented. This spiritual connection with animals reflects the worldview of a society that viewed nature and its inhabitants as an extension of humanity itself. Shamanism, once again, enters the scene as a lens through which these early humans viewed their relationship with animals. They were not mere representations, they were manifestations of a cosmic power. By painting an animal, one was, in fact, celebrating its energy and strength, keeping alive the memory of their interactions with these beings that were essential to the tribe's survival. Caves, with their unique and mysterious atmosphere, were more than just shelters for early humans. They were, in a sense, spiritual sanctuaries where time seemed to dissipate. By taking shelter in these spaces, humans sought not only physical refuge, but also a place to connect with the beyond. The silence of the cave provided an almost mystical environment, ideal for meditation, introspection, and, of course, for creating paintings. It was as if, by entering these spaces, Paleolithic humans could escape the physical world and touch the immaterial, an experience that transcended time and space. Within these caves, the act of painting took on an even deeper ritualistic dimension. Silence, far from being merely the absence of sound, became a link between the human and the spiritual. By painting on the cold, dark walls, the artists were not only creating images, but also immortalizing moments of connection with forces beyond the visible. The cave, therefore, was a kind of portal where the present and the past intertwined. The images left there were a way of preserving memories, feelings, and beliefs, an attempt to transcend ephemeral and leave a legacy for future generations. This silence also carried a sense of reverence, as if, by painting on the cave walls, the artists were creating a sacred space. This ritual of immortalizing hunting scenes, spiritual figures, and even abstract symbols was undoubtedly a way of communing with the divine and one's ancestors. Deep within the earth, far from prying eyes, caves became temples where time did not exist, and where art served as a bridge between humanity and the cosmos. For early humans, fire held a fascinating and transformative power. It wasn't just a source of heat or light, but a force capable of shaping reality. In caves, fire, used to illuminate the walls while paintings were being made, create a unique spectacle of shadows that influence the shape and perception of the images. The flames dance on the rocky walls, projecting mysterious silhouettes and creating an environment where art took on a life of its own. The firelight interacted with the contours of the figures, gave movement to the hunting scenes and the animals depicted, making them almost real, as if they were moving. Besides providing light, fire carried a powerful symbolic charge. It was the element that allowed connection with the supernatural, and at the same time, it was the means of transformation. By painting by firelight, artists not only saw forms come to life, but also saw their art being forged by the power of the element, as if fire were an ally in the depths of ritual. This interaction between fire and art creates a symbolic bond between natural forces and human beings, transforming caves into living temples, where the flame of fire not only illuminated but also inspired and shaped art. Fire also brought a unique spiritual dimension to cave paintings. It represented the presence of the divine, often seen as an intermediary between humanity and the cosmos. By using fire to illuminate their works, early humans perhaps sought a connection with the gods or ancestral spirits. The power of fire transformed each scene painted in caves into something more than a simple image. It became an energetic manifestation, where art and magic intertwined to create a transcendental experience. Cave paintings are more than just vestiges of a distant past. They are eternal records of a collective human experience. Each cave painting, whether a bison in the hand or an abstract symbol, carries with it not only the moment in which it was created, but also the emotions, fears, beliefs, and desires of the people who created it. Though separated by millennia, these images continue to speak to us, humans today, as a window into the spirit of our ancestors. The fact that these works have withstood the test of time is a testament to their importance, a mark of communication that transcended generations and remained alive through art. These cave paintings serve as a link between the past and the present, a direct line connecting modern humans to our earliest ancestors. By observing these images, we are not simply contemplating ancient art, but connecting with a distant past, a moment when humanity began to understand its existence through art. They are a reflection of collective memory, a way of ensuring that the stories, beliefs, and wisdom of a people are not lost to time. Each cave, each painting, is a kind of time capsule, offering us clues about how those early humans saw the world and themselves. While the exact meanings of many of these paintings remain a mystery, what is undeniable is that they are a testament to the human capacity to create, express, and leave a mark on the world. Cave paintings were not only forms of communication, but also means of immortalizing the human experience. They reveal that, despite the vast differences between cultures of yesterday and today, the need to leave a legacy, to connect with the eternal, and to express one's identity has always been profound and universal drive. Hands, with their unique shape and symbolic power, occupy a prominent place in cave paintings. They were not only a means of creation, but also a profound symbol of identity and presence. Negative handprints, where the hand was placed against the wall and the pigment was blown around, can be seen as a kind of primitive signature, a mark left by the artist himself. These handprints were not simply a gesture of "I am here," but an affirmation of belonging and a direct connection to the sacred space of the cave. By leaving their hand on the wall, primitive man was perhaps trying to secure their immortality, to record their existence as purely and directly as possible. Beyond prints, representations of hands, often stylized or symbolically drawn, carry deeper meanings. They could be seen as a channel to the divine or as an expression of strength and power. In many cultures, the hand is considered a symbol of control, action, and creation. In caves, where ritual and spirituality intertwined, hands were the vehicle of communication between the physical and spiritual worlds. Through them, early humans could connect with gods, ancestral spirits, or the forces of nature. The symbolism of hands goes beyond a simple physical representation. They represented a profound connection, a link between man and the invisible world. By making a handprint or drawing on a sacred site, the artist was, in a sense, creating a bridge between the human and the supernatural. It was as if, through his hands, he could invoke protection, strength, or wisdom. This gesture of painting or leaving a handprint on the cave walls was not just a form of self-expression, but a way of communicating something that could not be expressed with words, something transcendental and eternal. Cave paintings are true time capsules, carrying with them the memories of early humans. Each image depicted on cave walls, whether an animal, a hunting scene, or an abstract symbol, serves as a visual reminder of the experiences of those who lived thousands of years ago. However, cave art goes beyond simply portraying everyday life. It is, in fact, a way of immortalizing events, feelings, and beliefs that were fundamental to the lives of prehistoric tribes. By painting, these primitive humans were not only recording their existence, but also creating a legacy, a visual narrative that would survive for generations to come. This practice of recording important events through images is, in a way, a form of preserving history. Cave paintings were created with the intention of leaving a testament to what those early humans experienced. Just as today we record moments of our lives in photographs or videos, cavemen used art as a means of capturing the essence of a significant moment. These were not just random images, but reflections of a shared life, a way of passing on the knowledge and wisdom acquired throughout their journeys. Through these images, future generations could learn about their ancestors and their struggles, achievements, and spiritual connections. More than that, cave art became a way to ensure that memories were not lost over time. When paintings were made on cave walls, it was not just a way to document daily life, but to create a link between the present and the future. By leaving a painting, ancient artists were, in some way, speaking to future generations, saying this is our world, our beliefs, and our history. Remember us. And indeed, cave paintings continue to speak to us today, preserving not only the memory of our ancestors, but also the deep human desire to immortalize our existence through art. Cave art, at its core, was a wordless language, a direct communication with the invisible. Early humans, still without formal writing, used images to express emotions, ideas, and even complex rituals. Cave paintings function as a kind of visual alphabet, where each symbol, each stroke of color, carried a profound meaning that transcended the physical context. It was not a communication that depended on spoken or written words, but a language that spoke directly to the soul, to the spirit. Art, thus, became a way to connect with the unknown, to invoke spiritual forces, and to attempt to control destiny. Unlike words, which can be limited and often misinterpreted, images allowed for more universal communication, something that could be understood by any human being, regardless of their language or culture. Cave paintings were, therefore, a way to touch the spiritual, to speak directly to beyond. For Paleolithic tribes, art was a language that transcended the barriers of human communication and established a connection with the gods, animal spirits, and the forces of nature. It was a pure language based on emotion and intuitive perception. This form of wordless communication also had magical power. It is believed that by creating these images in caves, primitive humans were attempting to communicate with forces beyond human control, such as gods, ancestral spirits, or even the animals depicted in the paintings. By painting an animal, they not only depicted it, but also called it to life, creating a link between the visible and invisible worlds. In this way, art became a means of influencing the world around them, of affirming their own existence, and of connecting with the invisible energies that permeated nature. Cave paintings are not just ancient art, they are humanity's first visual language, a way of communicating our deepest emotions, rituals, and desires with the invisible. Each trace in the caves connects us to a distant past, revealing how our ancestors attempted to understand and interact with the world around them. They are not just historical records, but messages that continue to speak to us, challenging us to explore more about our own spiritual journey. Now that you've learned a little more about the mystery of cave paintings, how about continuing this journey through time? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Together, we'll explore the mysteries of the past and better understand how it shapes the present. Don't miss this incredible journey. Click subscribe and discover what else the past has to reveal.